We are almost live. Yeah, we are live now.
So time.
Hello, I warmly welcome you to our 51st webinar by the Academy of Space Renaissance International. My name is Sabine Heinz, and I'm the person responsible for our webinar series and one of the vice presidents of SRI, and also responsible for our art chapter. And on this 20th of November, I'm really delighted that you have come to join us, and that we have again our special guest, Danielle Futselaar. Hello, Danielle.
Hi, Sabine.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Yes, it's so nice to see you. And Danielle is an artist from Holland, and she's doing a lot of space artwork. We will talk about this more today. And she will present her latest book, what came out some few days ago, The Secret Universe. I also would like to welcome Bernard Foing, our president. Hello, Bernard.
Hello, yes, yes, the best to everybody from Space Renaissance. I am now on my planetary exploration trip where I am actually currently in a beautiful city, Dublin, at the Technical University, where we have got a number of students in the last 3-4 years that are working with us in a Eurospace hub, Human Mars. We train them as astronauts. So these are the private citizens that are going to expand into space, according to our vision of Space Renaissance. Also, actually, I am hosted by both the art faculty and the science faculty. And so we have also here some artists that have participated to the Moon Gallery, sent some artwork into the International Space Station. And tomorrow I will give a public lecture about space for all. So this is our sustainable goal 18 that we want to push, but also we looked at how young professionals could participate to this endeavor with a research project, with a training project, with business project. So indeed, we had also quite a busy last week where we were present at Space Tech Bremen, and this is growing into participation of space people, companies, and also entrepreneurs, and as well young professionals. So Europe is catching up with space, in particular in application of space for exploration. Yes, it takes a bit more effort to involve them into our vision of a space renaissance, but we try to do that. And possibly artists are very important actors into that because they can bridge us to society. They understand what the society needs, they can express it, and they can also publicize our vision beyond just the science and the technology, also exploring all the human dimensions. So I'm very much looking forward for the talk, and I wish also that we will also can greet you in the Netherlands, where now we have installed a new office at the Space Business and Innovation Center. And this office also will include a coordinator for art and space activities that we have just hired yesterday. And we unveil the name next week.
Wow, it sounds really interesting. I see you are cooking in several kitchens. So
Sabine,
I think
frozen
she's
again.
frozen.
Oh, Sabine was transformed into a painting.
yeah.
No.
So now you can hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we can now.
Yes.
So,
I was saying that now you have changed that you will not go to Mars to the moon anymore. You are going to Mars.
Oh yes, it's Earth, Moon, Mars. It's
Okay.
a reason. Yes.
It's a journey. It's a trip around the solar system.
Yes. I also would like to welcome Adriano Ottino. He is also one of the vice presidents of Space Renaissance International, my co-host, and former president of one of the founders of SRI. Hello, Adriano.
Thank you very much, Sabine. Very welcome, Danielle, and to
Thank
this
you.
webinar. Really curious to see your presentation, and yeah, I understood that maybe this will be done in the form of an interview. Sabine will give questions to you, and we will listen to your answer and maybe see some pictures of your beautiful book. So it's very, very interesting, also for the young people,
Yeah.
for children,
Yeah.
and so on. Yes, Bernard, I'm happy about what you said, and you will remain for some days in Dublin.
Yes, so I am 3 days in Dublin. So tomorrow
3
I have a lecture, but we have a series of meetings with collaborators, with future students, some of them also from the
So we have
humanities
maybe
side.
to have a small talk later about what we can coordinate in related to your mission in Dublin. So I will call you later.
Dublin, and then I will be in Toulouse also, where there will be an event organized for the 40 years of the Académie de l'Air et Espace. So it's an international air and space academy, and they are focused on innovation and inspiration. And also at the same time, I have a class of my students from the IPSA School of Aerospace Engineering, where they are developing a design for future space mission. So Toulouse is for this week, and next week we go to Asia.
Okay. And we are traveling around the world. Now we turn back to Danielle.
Yes, Danielle.
You know,
so using this meeting as a organization to some.
Yeah.
Always nice to see each other again, of course.
Yes. Danielle will present her new book, and before we go to this, I would like to introduce her to our audience. She is specialized in the scientifically sound illustrations, and she started in 2001 as an independent graphic designer and illustrator, and she is really an amazing illustrator and an amazing artist. I love your artwork. And since 2011, she has regularly provided illustrations to various astronomical organizations. As a result, her work appears in the media regularly, including Nature, American Scientist, National Geographic, the Washington Post, and the New York Times. Also in German, Sterne im Weltraum. It's not in your... Ach doch, here is it written. Her work has also appeared on the cover of Nature and American Scientist and Stern und Weltraum. And she has written and illustrated a children's book about the universe and illustrated books for André Kuipers and Govert Schilling. And she has written now, released this book, The Secret Universe. Maybe you will show it to the camera.
Yeah, I was waiting for this moment. It's really big.
It's really, so beautiful.
Big. So you can see, I can hide behind it if I want to. It's that big, bigger than an A4 size. It's really much bigger, and I can tell you maybe on forehand that this was because a little while ago, a bit over a year ago, so that's more than a while ago, a museum asked me if the Museum Boerhaven in Leiden, maybe Bernard knows it.
Beautiful museum of instruments.
And they are the Museum of Science and Medicine.
Yeah.
And because of the science part, obviously, this is not about medicine. They came in contact with me a year ago because the Volkskrant, it's a newspaper, a big newspaper in the Netherlands. They had posted a big drawing of one of my artist impressions in an article about artist impressions. I was also interviewed for this, and the curator of this museum had read the article, and he called me. And he said, we want work from you. And I was like, work from me? Are you giving me a job? No, we want to have your work because we think it is what you did, what you created in the artist impressions has been significant for the way we view the universe now. So we want to have this saved for the future. So future people will know how we see the universe in this time of age. And also, we want to use your work in the museum. So can we have it? Well, and that's a big yes, of course. They could have it. And then a few weeks later, I had a party at my publisher because I worked with the same publisher before. So they had a party and drinks, and so they asked me, and I told them about the situation with the museum. And they said, well, then you need to make this book. And I was like, wonderful. Of course, I'm going to do that, but it took almost a year.
Yes.
So that is why it is a year ago that the curator asked me for the museum. And next Sunday, so less than a week, the event is going to happen. I'm going to hand them my work in an official...
In Leiden?
In Leiden.
Oh, I have to take my rocket and join you there.
Yeah, but I think you are somewhere else in the world, right?
No. Sunday in Leiden.
You are in Leiden.
Before going to Korea Space Resource Workshop and to Moon Village meeting in Japan. So yes, I should stop to Boreva. It's a great museum also for if you like anatomy. They have also medical. And for astronauts, that's also very interesting. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that this museum was based on this person, and his name is Herman Boerhaave. Yeah. And this person was very interested, as well in medicine as he was interested in science. So because of his legacy, this museum became both. But anyway, this was the reason that I could make this book, but also that it took so much longer to get this this data, which I'm going to give to the museum. So it's going to happen in only a few days.
Yes.
Wow, amazing.
This book is, we will talk a little bit more about the book. I was the lucky one who has joined Danielle during the entire process. And I saw all the pictures, and also the pictures which are not in the book, because not all pictures had managed it into the book. And we were talking about the pictures, and she showed me this in forehand, and I saw the drawings, the first drafts, and then how it developed. And it was really, really an interesting process. And to observe this process, because when my husband wrote his books, it was a silent process. He wrote his books, and when the book came out, I had it in my hand. And but there were not very often pictures in it, or only some pictures. But here, this is a really amazing book. And tell us a little bit more about the book. Why did you get to make this book?
Well, it was because of the museum. Well, that was the biggest reason, because, of course, there is a commercial reason to do this. On the one hand, they both get extra media attention, and that is, of course, something you want for as well the book as for the museum. And for me, it's not that bad either. because it's always fun that when you make something or you have done something, you want to show it to the world. And I think every artist wants to do that. And so that was the main reason that I was made. And we also worked together. This same publisher is also the publisher for whom I made a lot of different other books. And
how many books about the universe did you work on?
Well, I worked on 4 books, which 2 I made by myself and with help, of course, from people. But I wrote it and I illustrated it. And that's this one, The Universe, Het Heelal. And she has it in English, yes.
Bravo.
It is published in 4 languages. That is in Dutch, in English, in Chinese, and in Russian. And then because of that book, there was another publisher who is an educational publisher. So they make things for schools. And that was this book. And I made the illustrations inside, so not the one on the cover. But this one was I didn't know who wrote it because the publishers said it was the author. They didn't mention his or her name. So when I looked inside, when I got the book at home, when it was published, it was Govert Schilling. And he is a very well-known science writer in the Netherlands. So he also does television programs about the universe and about the world, and very interesting and nice man. And he was so satisfied with the work I had done for this book, is that when next he was going to do a book with André Kuipers, and you should know André Kuipers as the astronaut who went to the ISS for a very long time, for I believe more than 200 days. And then Govert Schilling said, yes, I want to do this book with André Kuipers, but I want Danielle to do the illustrations.
Wow.
So that's the result.
Wow,
of
beautiful.
Number 3. How do I become an astronaut?
And you know, André Kuipers is a great friend of art as well. He's a medical background, but he flew on a capsule, and we developed a program to buy the capsule he returned with, and we organized a gala or chala where we invited some artists, some musicians, and so on, and we even invited my jazz band from Estek and my musical group from Estek, and we played for a group of donators to buy the capsule of André Kuipers, and then we made a all public charity. And now this capsule, Soyuz capsule, is in the Space Expo Museum in Noordwijk.
Cool. Very nice.
Very nice. And nice how the circle is closing. Yes.
Yeah, good place to. So, but the publisher for whom I illustrated this book is also the same as this. The other ones are other publishers, but because we recently did the book How Do I Become an Astronaut, and also other books we did together, I got to make this book for them. And they both André and Govert did quotes for me on the back. So they did a little bit of promotion for me. And the most beautiful part of this is that when next Sunday there is the moment with the museum, there's also the book presentation, and I also get to hand over the book to André himself.
Oh, what time on Sunday?
It starts at 3 p.m. until 5. And if you want to be there, you have to be quick. I will send you a link soon, because there can only be 100 people in the space. Yeah, because of the fire restrictions.
Yes, of course.
So, and there are now, I think, almost 90 people or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to...
it's 100 people. It is like the Starship. Starship will bring 100 astronauts. So it's a similar capacity.
Yeah, there is.
And of course, about Starship, we have to recognize the great achievement of this second launch of Starship, that where they managed to have a separation, second stage. They got to 150 kilometers. It's not a failure. It's a big progress in what they've done. So let's celebrate also Starship. Maybe you made a book. You will make a book about Starship in the future.
Well, I would like to. But anyway, but he's going to be there. He's going to be there.
Yeah, André. Yeah.
And I can give him my book. So that's
That is
excellent.
so
Huge.
nice, so nice. I met him at IAC meeting in Paris, IAC Congress in Paris. Yeah, he is a nice person.
He is. He really is.
Andrew Kuipers. I have another question. How long did it take to make this book?
Well,
Because 1 year from getting the order until now, it's very short term actually, because to write a book normally takes longer. So you were really, really fast in working on this book and publishing it. So
yeah, for me it felt very long. But it took a year, and if you reduce that to real work days, I think it's half a year. You know, when you're going to put all the hours together in work days, you know, so you don't work 24 hours a day, but if you count the work days, and then it will be a full half year that I've been working on it. And like you said, a lot of pictures also didn't make the cut, you know, they just weren't good enough, or I didn't think they were good enough, or we chose for something else, because so you make a lot more than what is in the book finally, you know, in the end. But I can show you a few pages from the book, like.
Yes, and maybe you can talk a little bit about what is the book about, because I didn't want to tell it beforehand. So think about the story.
What you see on the front, of course, is the boy with the suitcase. And it's a boy, you can see he's quite small compared to the suitcase, or it is a really big suitcase.
And you have a gate, or it's a keyhole?
Yeah, it's a keyhole.
Universe?
Yeah, yes. And that's because it's the secret universe. So we made a keyhole to make it a little bit more secret. And the idea of that is that you cannot travel to the universe yet, but space travel is something that's an upcoming thing, you know. So what I thought is that Jessa has to be a space travel tester. You know, like you have travel testers in the world as well. They test locations to travel to, and if there's a good hotel testers, like you even have bed testers, I believe. So he's a space travel tester, and he goes to destinations in the universe to see if that would be a good location to go on a vacation. And so he goes to do all kinds of things, and he's going to tell you whether or not you should do that too. And for example, one of the things he's going to do is a bungee jump in space.
Okay.
And he's going to notice that a bungee jump in space is nothing to compare to bungee jumping on Earth, because there's no gravity. So there's a difference between the things you do in space and the things you do on Earth. And that is there's a sort of fun factor that it's a fantasy book. But on the other hand, when the children read the book, they also learn what it is to be in space or on a planet that is not the Earth. And that is what I'm trying to teach them on the one hand. And on the other hand, it's just a fun book. And you can go skiing on Europe.
Europa.
Yeah, Europa. Or one of my favorite pages is this one, and that is about finding SETI. Really?
Yeah, and extraterrestrial intelligence.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest secrets in the universe, after all, is, are we alone? And that is one of my favorite questions for liking the universe so much.
I like the patches you made, the ski pass and all the things. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, and
this book will be published in English because I want to have one, but in Dutch.
Well, I had this question so many times before now, and I would say my publisher is called Witte Leeuw. Go and send them an email. Tell them that it has to send them, because maybe they will go for it then. But because my other publisher, this one, they have an office in New York as well. So that is why the English version came, and the other they also sold the rights for the Russian and the Chinese versions. Yeah, and this probably only will become an English version if they sell the rights to an English or American publishing house. I don't think they will publish it themselves in English, but we can hope.
You know, when we are a moon base, we want to put a library, like an Alexandria library. So I hope we have your books, and maybe it will be in all the languages that are spoken in the moon base. Maybe English, maybe Chinese, because the Chinese, they are going fast now to establish a moon base, Russian, and Dutch.
Yeah, of course. Well, at least the one book that make all these languages. I hope that this will too, but I cannot be sure because yeah, I was hired to do this, and they have to be able to sell the rights to another publisher, and there are these fairs, you know, these book fairs where they do this, and I believe there's always a big one in Bologna each year. So fingers crossed, and hope that they bring it there and that some big publishing house in the USA will buy it.
I have another question. Do you have prepared some slides to show some pictures? Then show us more pictures from the book, because people want to see it, because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I can show a few more, not all, of course, because then people don't have to buy
it. Sorry. I have a small recommendation. If you are going to show your book, not by slides, but showing the book, I recommend, because I will put the view of the speaker only, and everybody who talks change the view. So while Danielle will be showing the book, please everybody stay silent, so we can show it in the big format. You know what I mean?
Okay. Here I go. So be quiet. I can show a few more pages. Let me see. For example, this one is one when you go to Mars and get yourself a Mars selfie, because everyone wants to have a Mars selfie when you're on Mars, of course. And I can do one final, because, you know, otherwise you don't have to buy the book. And this is a page, let me see, where you have the big brother of the ISS. So that is a big space station, which is still sort of a fantasy now, but maybe in time, or other cultures will do it, like Dyson suggests with his Dyson spheres. So you never know. That's what I wanted to show from this book. Maybe you want to see pictures from my other books?
Yes, we can do it. Yes, of course. But as it is a presentation from this book, maybe you can tell a little bit more about this book. Yeah, because because I know we were talking about, for example, excavation, mining asteroids, and I had to look up how the machine looks like. It was really funny. She sent me the picture, and I was thinking, it's so small, and then it was really like she drew it, so I looked it up. It was really interesting. Maybe you can show this one picture too. I'm silent. And Yeah,
Okay.
you showed it so shortly, people will buy it anyway because
Oh
it is
yeah,
so
they have to.
beautiful.
They have to. This is collector's items.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
Yeah. This is about. This is about mining, asteroid mining.
Asteroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can easily carry the big rock there because the gravity there sometimes is 10,000 times less than on Earth.
Yeah, and
So
that
you
is
could
the reason.
carry a huge rock.
Yeah, but also I also explain in the text that this is of course a fantasy book, and most likely humans will not do it, but robots. It's not so much something you want to be, the place on an asteroid, because it's not a very friendly environment.
Yeah, I think it's a asteroid. There is almost zero gravity, so it's like being on a very big space station. And
Yeah.
Okay, it's a very interesting object of scientific study because it tells you about the history of our solar system, and you will need some humans to take care of the robot, the machine, if there is something to repair, if you have to intervene. I think it's quite likely that when we are at the phase to exploit at large scale the moon and also the asteroid, you will need a few humans in situ.
Yeah.
It's like like a shepherd.
They deserve a very big salary.
Even because if we are working in telemetry with distant locations, you know that there is a time between a message can be heard or transmitted. Therefore, it is not possible to work with telemetry to command the robots.
No,
in
exactly.
a long distance. Let me say from here to Mars, just to say, or to the belt asteroid. Therefore, humans are, if we are serious and we want to work in space, humans are to be there. Because for many reasons. That it would be interesting also to deepen some concepts because probably because you are talking to children is good to bring real concepts to them. And the real concept is that that settling in space will be useful for humans, not only for automated machines.
Yeah.
For children, there is a nice book for children. Le Petit Prince. He's living on an asteroid.
We don't want to mine asteroids to bring everything on Earth. We have enough stuff on Earth. Develop outside, So this is an important concept for the young people.
Yeah, I have a page that is about living in space, which is mostly based on what is going to be planned for Mars, more than living on an asteroid, because Mars is more likely to be inhabited with humans than an asteroid is. But I agree, probably there will be humans there, but it will not be crowded.
Asteroids can be spinned,
Yeah.
We can inhabit inside an asteroid, to dig inside, make it rotate and generate artificial gravity, like if it was a big station, a big rotating station. So asteroids are also interesting as habitat.
Adriano, can you put the view of all of us so that not only the speaker is in view?
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment about books and asteroids. One of the most popular books for children is about asteroid. It's the story of Le Petit Prince. Le Petit Prince is living on an asteroid. It's called B52. And he has also flowers there and so on. So this is very appealing to children.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, by the way,
I have a question to the book.
Yes, then you can. I just want to add a small thing. We are working very hard in the SRI to prepare a position paper about the criticalities of space settlement before 2030. So we are touching different topics in this paper, including the issues of supposed new space colonialism and things like that, that I believe it could be very interesting for you while you're working about your outreach to the young people. Therefore, I think you will be one of the first person we will share our paper when it will be ready.
Wow. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and we should find illustration for the paper. Okay, so that's a good
That would be, yeah, then we can make a small book maybe, because, okay, maybe also changing a little bit the language, because the language of a paper is for is a more scientific and philosophical language, and if we want to make it readable for children, we have to change a little bit the language, maybe reduce something, but to give the real contents, it could be a very interesting work to do.
That is
Unifying art and philosophy.
Well, that is something you have to really take in mind, that if you want to reach young people, for one thing, it doesn't need to have very big words, and it doesn't need to be very difficult, because you want children to understand what you're saying at first, but also they are still young. They need to be adjusted to their age. So if you come with all kinds of difficult stuff, that you're not going to get their attention. So
and in the same time, always remember that they want to be treated like adults.
Yeah,
they don't to be treated like
you have to make it.
You have to make it.
You have to make it understandable. I have a question to your book. Another question: how is it made? You have written the text, and is it all written in fantasy? And you entered, for example, zero gravity, or is there like on the patches written something scientifical?
Yeah, well, it is that the fact that he is traveling to planets where we cannot go yet, that's a very big part of the fantasy. He is also going through space like a ping pong ball, because he's going to destinations all over the space, and it doesn't have a logical route, so that's a bit weird, but in a children's book everything is allowed. So in this space, in this book, that is the fantasy part of the book. But when I talk about gravity, or when I talk about the environments, or that space is a hostile place because there's no atmosphere and things like that, that's all real, of course. So the fact that he is going through space in his spaceship and goes to all these places, like he is just stepping into an airplane and flying it himself, that's the very impossible part of the book. But the nature of things are real.
And I have a question.
And he is Jesse, no? Jesse is his name.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I have a question. You target it as a children's book, or is it a family book? Where the parents have to talk with the kids, or the grandparents, and they learn as well, and they have to explain, and maybe the kid explain to the parents what is space. How do you feel it?
Yeah, it's more a bit of both, because we started out as that it could be a fantasy book. And later the publisher said, well, this is much more you. It's much more you to put, because I come from more a science background, because I've been working for science illustrations for 12 years now. So this was much more me to not do it that fantasyful as they first thought it would be. So now it's more like you can start reading it with your child when he's like 6 or just starting to read, And when you have a bit older child, it could be like 9 is a bit the average age. But if you're maybe 100 years old, you still like to see the pictures and read. There's maybe some stuff in it that adults still would like to know. And I think it's not so much a book for learning, but more for curiosity, for kids that are curious about space. So I've made this book about learning with Govert Schilling, and that is a real book where the information is real made for special age and, you know, made to fulfill their need in science learning. And this is more for children who just like space and just like to know more about it and see awesome pictures.
But you can be assured that adults, mostly the parents, will read the books for the children. And very often adults read the books and say, now I understood this case or what's happened here, because they are not scientists or have no connection with science, and then they like the children books to learn.
Yeah.
I have another question. What other books? Also, dat hatten doch. What other books did you illustrate? Also, I know that you not illustrate not only scientific books. You also have other fantasy books.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about this too.
Yeah. Well, the first books I illustrated were also about. I see the picture much bigger now. The book I illustrated as first was also about space, and that was this book, The Unbreakable Code by Lucy and Stephen Hawking. And I did 4 books by them, and then he passed away, so that's a bit of a pity, of course. But these were sort of the first books I illustrated, to be honest. And well, aside from science illustrations, I illustrate dragons. So I mostly have stars and dragons. So I have 2 collections of dragon books. Those are these dragon books.
Very beautiful.
There's a new one with a robot dragon.
Yeah, then there's my second. This one is still on the way because there will be 6 versions, and I have 4 finished now. And can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this. Look, this one here. I like this very much.
I would like to have had those books when I was a child.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I didn't.
Are they in other languages or only in Dutch?
The original books are in English, but they don't have my cover because the English books are with covers, and my publisher didn't. Yeah, it's maybe a bit unkind to say, but they wanted to have their own covers, you know. They want, and I got to restyle them for the Dutch market, and so this is what I made. And this was the last one, and it really is about the mechanical dragon.
Interesting. I have a question then. You know, some kids, they are very fascinated by dinosaurs, others some dragons, others from space. So do you have stories where you have them both? Space dragons.
Now, well, there you got something. I want to make an illustration of a dragon on a star. No, not on a star, on a planet, on a star.
On a planet, yeah.
Yeah, so that would really just be covering all my work at once. So that would be something, but I don't have a book with dragons on planets or in the space.
To invent something.
I remember in a science fiction book that I read too many years ago, on a planet there were air whales, so very big animals that were inflated with some gas, and they were navigating in the air, in the sky. That could be an interesting subject.
That's interesting. But you know, there was a discovery. Huh? They found a dragon in the sky. Do you know that? There is a dragon in the sky. It's between Ursa Majoris and Ursa Minoris.
You mean the nebula?
The constellation of dragons.
I thought you meant something like a nebula.
Constellation.
It's a constellation.
Constellation.
You know, when you look
dragon,
between
just
Ursa
like
Majoris and Ursa minoris, there's a long necklace of stars that goes around, and it's called Draconis.
Yeah. No, but I just have the privilege to illustrate dragons, and well, it's of course a very beautiful combination to make space and dragons. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yes, it's really, really amazing. Also, maybe you could do something, a combination with the robot, mechanical dragon and space.
Well, one of the things I did do, and that is because Adriano mentioned dinosaurs, right? And in my previous book, I did illustrate dinosaurs. And let me see where it is. Because dinosaurs got to be extinct because of the...
Because they don't have a space program.
Exactly.
Because of an asteroid, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because of the meteorites that crashed.
Yeah.
So I did dinosaur, and that's a bit. I think dragons and dinosaurs are some cousins of each other.
Yes. I think it came from this, so that they invented the dragon, and but
maybe they were not invented. It is a legend coming from some
but the dinosaurs have been before. Which other books would you like to make?
Well, of course, I would like to make more books about the universe. That never gets bored, it always stays interesting. But I also still have a few ideas of my own. I still have a few concepts, and every time I want to start working on it, somebody comes around and asks me to do something else.
But also not bad.
So I still have to start on it, and I really have some very nice ideas that I want to work on, and things I really would want to make. I really want to make this fairy tale stories and stuff like that. And I want to make, well, of course, like I said, books about the universe, because I always like to make things about the universe, but also other things. I have this story in my mind about an old bookstore about an old antique store, I should say, that is a sort of magical, and that's something I want to write down for many, I think, years now. But every time I want to start, I've already started it, but I cannot really get into it because every time something else happens, which is, well, just as good. So,
and what about a series of books? Like you could start with the Geheime Mann, the Secret Moon, and then the Secret Mars. Some episodes.
Yeah, well,
how would you see, for instance, a fantasy world or living on the moon? There will be a lot of things that could be illustrated.
By the way, Alberto Cavallo is mentioning the SpaceX capsule is called Dragon. It's right. Yeah. So we have a dragon already. Maybe you can combine it.
There are dragons in space.
Yes. And Natalia Viscomi is asking, how does man interact with the universe? Maybe he means the man, this Jesse, is interacting with the universe.
Well, he's traveling alone, so he's not interacting in that sense that he's talking with someone. He is the thing that you are reading is his journal. So you're reading his thoughts about what he experiences. And the way he interacts is like a normal human would. You have to wear a suit because it's not that friendly in space, and he goes with a spaceship. So that are his interactions. But he's not like talking to an alien friend or something. That not.
Yeah, I have another question. Which other books, also das I asked, who would you like to work with on coming projects?
Yeah, well, so that's also a question. I did think about that, of course, but there are so many interesting people that, well, for example, that I got to work with André Kuipers and with Govert Schilling was just like getting a present, you know. That's like such a gift to work with such interesting people. So yeah, every person that is that level of interesting would be just perfect and wonderful to work with, of course. I used to think that I wanted to work with Brian Froud. Do you know him?
Brian?
No, he is the one who worked with. He made the illustrations for Jim Henson Studios. Jim Henson Studios from at Muppet Show, but also from Labyrinth and from other very, very beautiful things. He made such beautiful art, and I was like, oh, if I, you know, there are people that you just, if you can only be a little bit like that, of course. So there are so many, and it's not just one field, you know. Of course, I'm very interested in space, because otherwise I wouldn't have worked on 4 books and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But there are so many fields of interest for me. So there, yeah, I would almost, it didn't happen, but I would almost have worked with somebody who is working as a professor in nuclear energy. So that's very interesting as well, because you learn so much. And I think that what gave me the most from making these books is that I learned, and also from my artwork, of course, from my space art, is learning from it. You know, I've learned so much from it, enough to make a book. And working with interesting people like that gives you that kind of knowledge. So yeah, everybody interesting like that would be just perfect.
Yeah, and if you could meet a person, equal or from the past, if this person is living or not, which person would you like to meet?
Yeah, that's one of those very difficult questions too. Well, Einstein would be if I said that would be something maybe a lot of people would say. Maybe Tesla then. Nikola Tesla, because he was so interesting and so underrated. So maybe Tesla.
Gerard O'Neill, Ralph Derrick.
And yeah, people like that. I think there are so many. Also, there are so many interesting people, just like people like Kepler or I don't know.
Galilei.
Konstantin Tsiolkovsky.
Yeah, should we have to make a list and we invite
and then we have to make the books. And then
yeah,
you have
then
to do the books.
we have to travel around and to meet them. Yes. Warte mal.
Maybe with artificial intelligence you can meet them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not, to have a book
Something
for children.
similar, no?
Yeah, a book for children about Tesla. This would be, I think, great to spread his legacy. Also, a book about orbital settlements as well. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And he was so intelligent and so before his time, you know. And
Innovator, yeah.
Yeah. He really, and that is what makes people incredibly interesting, of course. Yeah. So I think I would have a list of people that I want to meet if I could.
Yes. And with whom would you like to work with on coming projects?
Well,
that I asked already, no?
Yeah.
And which project are you the most proud of?
Well, I could say that it is my recent, my recent. Show it again.
Yeah, show it again. We are doing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I like the size. I like everything in this book. It was really nice.
Well, this is of course my recent project, so it's like your newborn baby, you know, and you cannot be prouder than on your newborn baby. But on the other hand, the first book I made by myself, with almost no help from the publisher, because they also didn't really know how to make it, because it would be the first, this one, the first one I made.
Mm.
And I didn't get much help because they didn't know how to manage it really, because it was going to be the first book of a series of books. So they had an idea and they said, we want to make this book, but we don't know how, so you can do it. And I never made a book before. I never even, well, I wanted to do it, and then I had never written anything before. So, but they couldn't find a writer. So I said, you know what? I will write it. And if you don't like it, it's no cure, no pay, and no harm done, no hard feelings. And you see, it's there, and it took me so much energy and so much, well, sleepless nights maybe, I don't know, but it was quite a thing to make. So I don't know if I'm more proud of my first baby or my last baby, but those two, yeah.
And what about, I have a question, what about the next book, Illustrating Space Renaissance?
How much does it pay?
We have a set of actions, reusable rocket, mining, art as well. So let's work on a Space Renaissance book, or a Space for All, with the eyes of children. I think this would be great.
Yeah, me too. But
okay.
Will you hire me then?
Let's talk about it on Sunday.
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
Genau.
But
if you would buy a book, which one would it be?
Yeah, difficult question also. I would think of these questions and then have no answer,
The answer is easy. It's 42.
Yeah, that's also always. Well, the thing is that honestly, when I go to the bookstore, I never come home empty-handed. So
Yes.
the next book I buy, book I want to buy is the next book I fall in love with. And I do that every time, and then I look at it and I go through it, and then I put it in my cupboard, in my bookstore shelf, and then I don't read it because I don't have time to read it.
Ooh, yeah.
But I buy books almost. Well, I won't say weekly, but almost weekly, and that's because I cannot. When I'm in the bookstore, and I'm there too often because my husband also is a very big fan of bookstores. We cannot walk past one without going in. And then I always buy books. So.
And I know what is the problem when you have to relocate one home to another home.
Yeah,
I'm traveling with about 80 big boxes of books, paper books.
Yeah.
And they say, why don't you use electronic version?
Books.
It's different. Also to have a book in the hand and it is nice made, and I can understand this. Also, I think we all here love books and read books, and
yeah. So the thing is that the first book I'm going to buy is the first book I fall in love with again. The book that I see in the bookstore that I say, oh, I need to have it, and then I really need to have it. So that's the way my book shopping goes, and it's not good for your wallet.
But Adriano, when I am retiring, I said I will live on the moon and we'll have a library, but you cannot come with all your books. So you will bring a memory stick with your books, and then we will ask an AI agent, Alexa, to read us some books while we are watching the Earth.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, definitely.
Or you will print it out there.
Oh yeah. Or you find maybe, you could have also a kind of virtual paper book, and where you print on the paper book, on the virtual one, and so you have the same feeling of turning the pages. Actually, we had some a program like this where on a TV screen, some of my colleagues developed a book where you could turn the pages, you know.
Yeah, but you need virtual reality, you know, so that you have gloves, so you feel like you have a book in your hands.
Yes.
And then you have glasses, and then when you turn the page, you feel like you have, you know, that sensible touch.
Then you see people sitting there making this gesture.
Yes, like this.
Strange. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yes, I think we are done. I included the questions from the chat. Do you have any more questions, Bernard or Adriano?
I have a question actually. Are you also looking with sound or with music that you mix with some of your illustration? So are you also inspired by music?
Well, of course, I like the music from David Bowie, Spaceman.
Okay.
And I am a very big fan of Kate Bush. Always have been, even before Stranger Things, because then she was big again with the series of Stranger Things. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, a little while ago there was this series of it was called Stranger Things, and Kate Bush, of course, she is from the 70s and 80s and 90s, and then she disappeared from the stage. And now a few months ago, I think, or a year ago, there was this series on Netflix, and they turned her they played her music all the time, but it's a very popular series, so she's all hot again. She's totally in again, and I liked her before that. I liked her when I was a very small child even. So that's my music, and they inspire me always, because music is inspirational. And it's not just the fact that they inspire me for for the text that you put it in your work, but more when you listen to it and you relax and you start drawing and you feel at ease. So it inspires me as a person, and I love music, but it's not so much that I put music in my illustrations. Not that.
And when I look at your books, what music do you recommend me to listen to? Or if we make a show out of your books, what music would you put?
Bowie, of course.
Bowie.
Yeah,
we all love Bowie.
Not the Rocket Man.
No, that's
not Rocket Man from
okay, so Adriano, we have to, with the Space Renaissance Band, we have to practice some David Bowie music, like we played in the past.
Yes.
Elton John, meinte ich. Elton John from Elton John, Rocketman.
To be sincere, I already made some years ago. I say few, but they are not few; they are more. Some jazz arrangement for some David Bowie songs, like Space Oddity, for instance. Very interesting to be played in a jazz style. So yes, we could. Yeah,
you played some at ISE in Paris.
So I project I will make my drawings go on the walls, for example, in projections.
And we invite a band.
And then you play music.
We can do it in Milan next year. In Milan.
Oh, Milan.
At IAC. Why not?
Yes, we will have a booth there. And so I propose that we have some rehearsal before. In Holland, we have a moon base. We can prepare some rehearsal, put some of the illustration from Danielle, and we practice some music to play to them.
Good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
A multi-art performance.
A global,
quite interesting.
Space opera.
Yes. I would like to thank you, everyone, for being here with us. Danielle, for presenting your book. You can show it again. So and also from Danielle exists this book. So if you are interested to buy one book from her, they're amazing. And we had a really nice talk. I enjoyed the conversation very much. And thank you to our audience for joining us. And I would like to mention that also on 4th of December, we will have Lucas Mix as a guest, and he will talk about how is heaven related to space. He's a theologue. And this will be a very, very interesting presentation too. And then 2 weeks later, we will have our end of the year special. Bernard, you have to prepare something special.
Yes, certainly. We prepare a good show.
Yeah, a good show. You are invited, Danielle, to enter the Zoom. We let all people into the Zoom, and it is really
nice.
funny.
Something like a party.
Like a party, so everyone
Space
has
party.
But we will also present a little bit our program for 2024. We are working on several virtual conferences and participation in person to the IAC in Milan and to other, probably to the NSS ISDC in Los Angeles, or where they will make it in the US. So for sure, these two dates we will be present, and we will, and our committees are preparing at least 2 or 3 conferences, virtual conferences, and a workshop for young people to participate and to compete on a project, some projects, ideas that we will provide to them. So the Academy is working very much, and the committees are working a lot, and of course, our invitation to join us is still open. Red carpet. Okay.
No, thank you for having me. Bernard, if you're interested for Sunday, I will send you a link.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And in this link is a little form which you have to fill in so that the museum knows you are coming.
Okay. Thank you. You can email that. Excellent. Yes, I'm looking forward.
I will send you a little Facebook message because I don't have email.
Okay, excellent. And so it was a great format. Also, this is a new format, fire chat. That we have in winter. It's very adapted.
We did it this way because I understand that Danielle didn't want to show slides with all pictures and people. So we did it this way, and I think it was a really nice conversation we had together.
Nice.
Thank you for being here with us, and I hope we all see us on the 4th of December, and I wish you a nice week. Okay.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All the best from Dublin. Yes.
Bye.